Okay, in the previous video we found that the volume of the parallelogram ended up being a dot product of a vector and the cross product of two other vectors, and we related that to the volume of the parallelepiped. So that was, we found the volume of this parallelepiped to be the dot product of vector C by the cross product of A and B. This kind of product is called the scalar triple product. So one thing to notice about this is that it's going to give us a scalar because A cross B is a vector, C is a vector, and we're doing the dot product of two vectors. So we will get a result of a scalar. Now, let's see how we do this. We're going to actually work this out and show that it's not a very difficult product to calculate. So in order to calculate C dot A cross B, I'm going to first calculate the cross product of A and B. So let's suppose that A is the vector with components A1, A2, A3. B is the vector with components B1, B2, B3. I was getting ahead of myself. And C is the vector with components C1, C2, C3. All right, so using the work that we've done in class to calculate the cross product, we're going to set up an order 3 determinant where the first row is the 3 standard basis vectors. And the second row, we will put our components of vector A. And in the third row, we're going to put the components of vector B. And so when we carry out this determinant, we know this will give us a vector. The first component, the horizontal component, will be I times the determinant that we get when we imagine eliminating the row that contains I and the column that contains I. So that's going to be A2B3 minus A3B2. And now we alternate signs and we're going to subtract J times the determinant of the matrix left when we imagine eliminating the column that contains J and the row that contains J. So that's going to give us A1B3 minus A3B1. And the Z component will be K times the determinant of the matrix left when we imagine isolating or eliminating the column that contains K and the row that contains K. So that's going to give us A1B2 minus A2B1. All right. So the only thing that I'm going to do here with A cross B is I'm going to go ahead and distribute the negative J, or the negative 1 in front of J, throughout the two terms in the Y component. So I'm going to rewrite this as I times A2B3 minus A3B2 plus J times, now when I distribute the negative, we'll have an A3B1 minus A1B3 plus K times A1B2 minus A2B1. Now, let's think back at what we were trying to do. We were trying to find C dotted with this cross product of A cross B. This is what we want to do. Now remember what we do when we find a dot product. A dot product, we multiply corresponding components and add. So I'm going to write our vector C as C1, C2, C3, and I'm going to find its dot product with A cross B. So when we do that, C dot A cross B, and again, in this case, order does not matter when we're doing a dot product. We're going to take C1, right? The first component of C has to multiply the first component of A cross B. So that would give me, I'm going to do this in a different color, C1 times the first component of A cross B, A2B3 minus A3B2. Now we're going to do plus C2. So we've got C2, and that's going to multiply the second component of A cross B. That's A3B1 minus A1B3. And finally, the third component of C is C3, and that's going to multiply the third component of A cross B. So A1B2 minus A2B1. Now, here's what I would like you to focus on. I want you to compare our finding here when we did the dot product, I'm not distributing just yet, between C and A cross B, and how we wrote the cross product of A and B. The only difference between the way these two cross products are written is that instead of I, J, and K in the cross product, we have C1, C2, C3 in the dot product. What does that mean? Well, that means that if I want to calculate this expression, dot product of a vector times the cross product of two other vectors, all I have to do is go back to the matrix or the determinant that we use for the cross product and replace the first row. Instead of an I, J, and K, we can put there C1, C2, C3, because that will then result in the expression that we just found. That really all that had to be done was replace vectors I, J, and K with the components of vector C. So now we can see that the dot product of C with the cross product of A and B can be found by using a third order determinant, replacing the first row with the components of the first vector, and the second row will contain the components of A, the third row the components of B, the two vectors that we are finding the cross product for. And again, order between the first vector and these two doesn't matter, but if you switch the order of A and B, remember that we know that A cross B is the opposite of B cross A, so you just might want to be careful with that. And that's it. We can calculate a dot product between a vector and a cross product of two other vectors using a third order determinant. And this is what we call the scalar triple product. The result is a scalar. It's a triple product because it's a cross product first and then a dot product. Well, I don't know, that seems like a double product, but we call it the scalar triple product. Also recall that this gives us the volume of a parallelepiped. That's how we found it in the first place. So in the next video, we'll do an example.